We've been reporting here on the national security implications of a foreign-controlled hedge funds investment in one of this country's largest railroads. A federal court today ruled that the hedge funds investment did violate securities law, but then the federal district court judge took no action against the fund, effectively saying that whatever they want to do will be just fine, that any regulation must originate with the Securities and Exchange Commission or the Justice Department. Senator Evan Bayh and 5 other senators demanding a federal investigation now of the TCI fund's action. Senator Bayh joins us from Capitol Hill. Senator, good to have you with us.
Good to be back, Lou.
The fund is, as you well know, the Children's Investment Fund, British owned, controlled, and they want to, well, raise their investment and make certain demands on CSX Railroad. The New York Times points out that you and I, well, we're just completely mistaken in our concerns. How do you feel about that?
Well, first, I feel I'm in good company with you, Lou. That's
very kind
one.
of you, Senator. Me too.
But more importantly than that, look, we welcome investment in this country. That's good for us. But when it comes to critical national infrastructure, national security assets like a railroad that carries nuclear material, for example, defense materials, for example, it's important that we make sure that foreign investments don't undermine our nation's security. That's number one. Number two, we've seen the rise in recent years of sovereign wealth funds, basically foreign government-controlled investment vehicles that are now investing billions and soon to be trillions of dollars, and we need to make sure, and I understand there is some sovereign welfare money in this British hedge fund.
Absolutely.
We need to make sure that hedge funds and these intermediaries aren't being used to obscure foreign government control of critical U.S. infrastructure.
Well, Senator, one of the problems we have in this country is that we're not regulating hedge funds themselves, and that's a problem in every degree. But your concerns that you raise about CSX Railroad, your concern should be absolutely determinate in what happens here. This is not simply a matter for whim of the marketplace. It is, as you point out, and as your other senators, Congresswoman Corinne Brown points out, this is a strategic U.S. asset. What in the world are we supposed to do? Just simply raise our hands and say, please, you know, whatever you wish?
No, absolutely not, Lou. There is a process in our government, it's called the CFIUS process, that's a long acronym, designed to review these kinds of acquisitions. Now, following the Dubai port deal situation, we specifically changed the law to include critical infrastructure like railroads.
Right.
Now it's up to the Treasury Department to decide how they're going to implement the law and whether it'll just continue to be a toothless tiger or whether it'll in fact have some teeth. The reason for our letter to the Treasury was to say, look, this is the very kind of situation we contemplated when we wrote this into the law. Please go forward and implement it accordingly.
You're being modest. The Smart and Secure Investment, Foreign Investment Act, you led the way on that. You were very, well, you were modest to say we, although your colleagues, of course, did vote on it, but it was your initiative, and you deserve great credit for it.
Thank you.
What in the world is going to happen there? What is the attitude, the mood in the Senate to put up with a snarky little investment fund that calls itself the Children's Investment Fund, refuses arrogantly to disclose anything of its ownership, its investments, and then demand of CSX you know, that it perform at a different level when it's already increased its stock price over the course of 3 years by 2.5 times. I mean, this is pretty amazing arrogance. The Japanese, by the way, the New York Times forgot to point it out, the Japanese told these little snarky Britishers with their fancy little hedge fund attitudes to go stick it. Why don't we find a way to expeditiously do the same?
Well, we should, Lou, and if the Treasury is not willing to implement the law using its discretion in cases like this, we'll have to take a careful look at requiring them to do that in the future, because it will be a dereliction of their duty if they don't. That's number one. Number two, with regard to these sovereign wealth funds, there need to be some kind of rules that guarantee that their investments are made solely on economic grounds rather than for political reasons. And you know what, Lou, when we get accused of being xenophobes or protectionists or that kind of thing, that has nothing to do with it. I would have these same concerns if our own government were trying to get 5 seats on the board of CSX.
The same people who would be accusing you and me of being xenophobes or whatever are the ones railing about Abu Dhabi buying the Chrysler building. Who cares? It's not a strategic asset.
Right.
Buy it as you wish. We thank you very much. It's also nice to see a few dollars come back to the country. Senator Evan Bayh, thanks for being here. Good luck.
Good to be with you, Lou.